Welcome to Holy Trinity Church, Queensbury in West Yorkshire. There's Holy Trinity Church as it appears now. The church was built around 1845, in fact we finished in 1845. The architect was James Mallinson. Of his church, only this bit remains. And don't know if I've had pictures onto this, that's one for later. Now this bit here was added in 1885, so then the church had its original tower and the body of the original tower was more in the centre of the nave, and the current tower is on the end of the north aisle. The first vicar of Holy Trinity Church was the Reverend Simeon Highley. We didn't stay more than a year or two. He was followed by Thomas Reed, Reverend Thomas Reed, who seems to have been a vicar prone to disappearing, or rather, perhaps probably not being there on Sunday morning, and he didn't last too long. The third vicar was the Reverend Carter Hyatt, who came as a curate, the second curate for this church. The church being then in its original form, and he stayed for about 50 years, at least 48, 49 of those as vicar, depending on when the change occurred. In fact, he's still here because he's buried in the churchyard. Now when he took over, he reported that the church was in a poor state of repair. The woodwork floor was supposedly rotting, the roof was in a bad state of repair. In fact, the church was just virtually derelict, according to what was written. So he wrote a letter and got support, and under him the church was restored back. He built the nearby school, which you may just be able to see part of there, or had it built, to increase education. The church was built rather later than some of the chapels. In fact, it was built in response to the fact that quite a few chapels had already been built in what was then Queen's Head up until 1863. And when they changed the name, the parish seems to have taken a little longer, a few decades longer, to change its name. They may well have been trying to see if the new name stuck. The congregation increased, and the church, as you can see, is still here. So he died in 1905, the Reverend Carter Hyatt, or the Reverend Hyatt. At that point, they tried to At that point, they tried to toll the bell in the then tower, which there were 6 bells then, and had to stop. Now, I've not discovered why. I presume either something fell off, or something went wrong, something wasn't right. Anyway, regardless, they decided the tower was not fit anymore. And then we've got this bit here, so there's a window just on the end there. So all of that is from 1906, 1907, when they built the new tower. Now the old tower, where the cock is at the top, the bells are underneath. The old tower had the bells at the top and the clock underneath, and the clock was an addition in 1885, and the bells, well, started out with 1 and then they were augmented to 6. There are now 8 bells in the tower. They put 4 of the original bells back, recast 2, and added another 2 bells. The heaviest of those bells is approximately 3/4 of a ton. And the graveyard is covered in brambles, so any minute this video may be cut short. So they put the vicar at that point, who had also condemned who had criticised wasn't happy with the balcony that was inside the church, which was at the back, here was the Reverend Robert Pulleen, whose father was the suffragan Bishop of Richmond. And he wasn't happy with the children playing in the on the balcony. The balcony went along with the back wall and the old tower, and the new tower was built. So before that, the entrance to the church was round this side on the tower, which would have been in the centre. It's now round the far side. So and I do have relatives buried in this churchyard. Not direct relatives, you know, people would be great aunts, great uncles, that sort of thing. I should think, really. Does it adapt in the churchyard? There's some around here, and there's some. We actually have a headstone at the far end, just round the corner. So most of my relatives don't seem to have headstones. Where were I? So yes, the new tower was then built and put on the end of the north aisle. And the church has looked very much like it did in 1907 up until the present point. About 2010, I think it was. Anyway, they rebuilt the top of the tower again because the metalwork they've used, tram lines apparently, were expanding and causing damage. It was rebuilt pretty much like it should have been. There is the grave of the Reverend John Carter Hyatt, his wife, and two of his daughters, whose names are on these here. They're very weathered, but it can be read when the sun is in the right direction. His wife was Fanny Griselda Hyatt. She died in 1903 and he died in 1905. Is that so? 1905. Right, so he died in 1905. And this grave belongs to the Reverend Canon Foote, who was also a vicar here. There's only so much information I can remember at any one time, and I can't remember exactly which number vicar he was, but he was ill at one point and then passed away, and I believe his wife is buried there as well. He's very overgrown. What's his name? Charles, is it? Frederick, is that Frederick Charles Foote? Yeah, he was a canon in one of the cathedrals. So, unfortunately, the lighting is not good.